tonight, like Najum said, we want to quickly just begin to talk about certain things that could leave the awareness of parents. I know that everyone here loves your children, love the people that you are leading, and you want the best for them. Okay. So please, I will encourage us to stay muted. If you're not speaking, please stay muted. If I need to ask us questions, I will get back to us. Okay, so just a reminder of why we are here. And I'm hoping that in the next 60 to 90 minutes, we would be out of here and we would have some insight as to how to help our children prepare. All right, so tonight we said we are here to discuss how to save your child, save your child before love breaks them. And there are critical things that we are expected to know. So I will just share my slides and we will kick off the conversation. Somebody said, I'm here so that I can teach my children. And I'm like, okay, what exactly do you want to teach them? I'm hoping that tonight we will learn what we need to teach them. So quickly, I'm going to start this from sharing with you a message that somebody sent to me some months back. And this message is shared with permission, by the way. And the lady was sent a message and said to me, my second daughter is going through a lot. And because she's afraid she will hurt herself. And she went on to say that she just realized that she doesn't love her husband, that she made a mistake to marry him. In fact, the daughter at that time was even threatening the woman and her husband that she will kill herself if they force her to remain in the marriage. And the mother was saying, she's just been married for 2 years. I don't understand all of this, these children of these days. I don't think my husband and I deserve this. And she went on and on and on. So for those of us here, maybe we might have a child who is already in a relationship and you can see that the relationship is taking a toll on the child, or you are even one whose child has not even gotten into any romantic relationship. But I want to assure you that after tonight, with what you would learn to be able to help your child, this scenario will not be your child's portion. Your child will not get into a marriage and just stay there to endure. Your child will not get into a marriage and be wondering, how did I get here? Because hopefully at the end of our time together, we will have touched on the things that you need to be aware of, and you need to bring the consciousness to your child to help them. So I just have two missions with us today to share with you 5 red flags that might make your child fall for the wrong person and end up in a miserable relationship, even if you have been praying for that child since you gave birth to the child. And this is not me dismissing the power of prayers. In fact, I shared something, I think last week, where I was saying that I had started the Ks. The Ks are our children because their names start with the letter K. So we just choose to call them the compound pet name, the Ks, to start praying for their life partner. So I believe in prayer, but I believe that outside of prayer, there are essential things that a parent should know. That is why even the Holy Book says, my people perish for lack of knowledge and not prayers. So whilst we pray, we need to also know these red flags and how to help our children. And after sharing that, I will show you how you can save your child from making that costly mistake of falling into the wrong relationship. And of course, in the course of our presentation, I will share with you some relatable stories and case studies. So come along with me, 5 things. And as we share each of the 5 things, I will let you know. So you're keeping tabs with me. We're flowing together. There's one hard truth we need to know as parents. You cannot advise a child already in love. I was talking to a mother some months back, and I was telling her about the single program that we run in the Start Your Marriage Right Academy. And she was saying to me, oh, let her finish her university. When she finish her university, before we will start talking anything marriage. And my heart was smiling and at the same time sad, because I knew that the mother did not understand that waiting till the child finishes university may be waiting too long, because some people get to meet the people that they choose to do life with in the university. Let's even imagine that that child does not fall in love in the university or does not choose a marriage partner. She's going to be relating with people of the opposite sex. And if she's not yet taught how to be her authentic self, how to show up even when somebody shows interest in you, to know if that is a healthy, safe interest, that child may fall for the wrong person. And some other woman, one day I wrote a post on this, and a father reached out to me to say, you know what? What you said is exactly my pain. That right now he's trying to get his son to understand how that lady may not be the best for him. But like the child says, I'm in love with her. And you know, sometimes people fall in love for the wrong reasons. So that's why it's important for parents, if you have a child that is 18 years and above, and you have not started to have honest marriage preparation with your child, you are waiting too late, because when that child falls in love, you may be too late. But tonight, you will learn what to do with them. Second hard truth that would help us as we go into those red flags is that when people turn up to look for relationships, they are saying, oh, how can I know the red flags in this person? How can I know if this person is good for me? But the truth about it that is often hard to admit is that red flags start with the individual. If a child, a young adult, does not even know the red flags in their own life, they will not see clearly to dictate the red flags in another person's life. Which is why I always say to parents, when you're saying, oh, when will you bring the man home? When you will bring the lady home? I'm like, have you taught your child even how to know, recognize real love? Have you taught your child what they need to know about themselves so that they can choose somebody that fits their authentic self and not just, oh, based on feelings? Because red flags start with the individual before they can now see clearly to detect it in another person. So two things. And as we look at them, I'm thinking, what is coming up in your mind right now as I take us through those 5 red flags that can make your child fall for the wrong person and end up in a miserable relationship or marriage? And as we take these red flags, I want us to really open ourselves up to get into that mood where you're really interested to know, okay, is this showing up in my child's life? And in typical of the Start Your Marriage Right Academy, we have reflection question for every parent here to take as we go through the red flags. And it might be good for you, if you have children 18 years and above, to go through that reflection with them, because you could just be in your comfort zone assuming that everything is right. Meanwhile, your child may right there under your nose be confused as to how to show up in the dating world. So the first thing you should pay in mind is, why do good children, why do smart singles, why do they fall in love with the wrong person? One of the things that you need to know is that when a child and I'm using child here to refer to young adults, is struggling with identity crisis, they wear a mask, and that makes them attract somebody who loves their masks and not themselves. And I might be probing you as a parent as we go through this, so that you look at yourself. Remember when you were once young, how prepared you were for relationship, and begin to ask yourself, is my child about to make the mistake I made or do the right thing that I did? Because let's get this right. If somebody does not know who they are, they become who they think they have to be just to be loved. But there is a danger there that if your child is hiding their true identity, the person that people they meet get attracted to is not the real them, is the person underneath. And so they fall in love with this false person, this person wearing a mask, and they think that is the real person. So I give you an instance. Somebody does not even consciously know who he is. Who is your identity? Who the child's identity is. Your child doesn't know who they are, why they represent what they represent, why they like what they like, what their values are, what their beliefs are, and they go out into the world. They're going to meet all manner of people. In our work as a marriage coach, you find that most crisis that happens in marriage is an authenticity clash. Beliefs are clashing. So if I ask you now, you have a young adult child, do you know your child's beliefs around marriage and life? And it's not enough to say, oh, we attend the same faith-based organization. My child is a Christian like me. My child is a Muslim like me. I'm sure my child believes. Are you sure you know what your child's beliefs around marriage is? What are your child's values? When your child is out in the dating world, can your child really stand up for what they believe in, even if every other person does not believe in it? Because trust me, if a child is confused, if a young adult is unsure of themselves, they can settle for anything. They can even marry somebody that would make life miserable for them because, first of all, they are not sure of themselves, or they are not even confident to say, this is what I like. A young man was telling me, I was dating this girl, but I did not like the way she talks to me. I do not even like how she relates with people. And I'm like, why didn't you bring it up? He didn't want to be confrontational. He didn't want to make for her to feel like his own was too much. But now they got engaged and they're about to get married, and he can't stand the way she treats human beings. So you're wondering, how can a 30-year-old man not be able to communicate, this is what I like, this is what I don't like? It is rooted in identity crisis. And that is one personal red flag that can expose your child to the wrong relationship. So that's red flag one. For you as a parent, the question is, does your child know who they are? If somebody encounters your child and say, tell me about you, is your child, who is a young adult, going to just say, my name is blah, blah, blah. I come from blah, blah, blah. I am a student of this. I work in Chevron Oil. That is just the very basic thing. Can your child speak out for what they believe in, even if it's unpopular? Do you think that your child has found their voice? That even in the midst of other people, they can actually be their authentic self? Or do you think that your child is somebody who just goes by the rules, even if the rules are not aligned with their beliefs, their values, and their core identity? That's one question you need to ask yourself. And if your child does not know who they are, please start them on a journey of self-identity. Otherwise, they may end up in the wrong relationship. That's red flag one. Let's look at red flag two. Remember, the focus is on your child, not on the person that your child is going to date. Because I see a lot of parents, when they are talking dating, they're like, oh, I want my child to do, I don't want somebody that will come and mess up my child. I don't want somebody that will not give my child joy. Are you sure your child can give another person joy? Are you sure your child is whole enough to be in a relationship? And that takes us to red flag 2. The second red flag that exposes even children from good families to bad relationships is when that child has unhealed emotional wounds. You know, sometimes as somebody who is a positive psychologist, I'm working with adolescents who are dealing with deep-seated wounds. And then I may need to have a session with their parents, and their parents are acting like this child, that like, my child is dealing with betrayal, my child is dealing with rejection. I'm like, this child is yours, but you don't even know that your child is broken. You don't even know that your child is dealing with pain. How will you know when you are not even a person that they can bring their sorrows to, they can bring their struggles to? A young child was dating somebody in the university and they broke up. And this young girl attempted suicide, but could not even open up to the parents, because she said, my mother will say, we did not send you to university to go and do boyfriend. We sent you to read book. That's why she couldn't talk to her mom. So when a child has unhealed emotional wounds, it affects their self-worth. And this is very critical and so rampant in today's world, that the child is feeling rejected, maybe by a past love interest. Somebody is saying no audio, please. Can you hear me? I'm hoping that this is an old message. Hello?
Yes, we
Please,
can
if you
hear
can
you.
hear me, confirm.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
an old message.
I can hear you.
All right, thank you so much. When a child is feeling rejected, feeling betrayed or emotionally hurt, what it does to the brain of that child is that that young adult begins to feel like, I'm not enough.
Psalm 91:10.
Begins to feel like, I'm not enough. And what does that do? Please keep yourself muted if you're not speaking. It's interfering with our progress. Thank you. The child begins to feel that they are not enough. And that could make them attract a partner that reflects their inner wound. I'm hoping that I will be able to explain this, because this is critical for us to get as parents. I have been in the marriage field for 18 years and counting, and I can tell you that I have encountered countless married people who would never have married the people they were married to if they had dealt with their unhealed emotional wounds. Because the way that our brain functions is that pain that we have dealt with for so long becomes so familiar that our brains gravitate to familiarity even when it is hurtful. How many times have you said, I'll never be like so and so person? Then you find yourself acting like that person. Is because that memory is ingrained in you. So we find young children who either have been dealt with bad hands in relationships, getting into other relationships, perhaps to prove a point. A young lady said to me, I knew he was toxic, but I didn't know that what I was doing was to prove that my ex who left me, I wanted to prove that my ex, how do I put it? She said she wanted to prove that her ex left her, but he's missing a good thing. So when she got into this relationship that was bad for her, she stayed because she didn't want it to look like any relationship she
Audio gone now, Dima.
Yeah, I've lost you.
Prayer warrior, pray for this network. Oh.
Where is Oluchi? Oluchi, I say you should be interceding for this network because I've changed service provider like 3 times. So I don't know why it's still disconnecting. Abi, are you not praying enough?
I'm praying.
I don't know if your prayer is I don't know whether I would say it's not working, because this is not a night that network should be disconnecting. This is not that night. All right, so let's keep the conversation going. Hopefully, network will behave itself. So who are the intercessors in the house? Oh yeah, we'll start interceding and tell the network to stay one place so that we can have this conversation. So let me ask you, as a parent, are there any emotional wounds that your child is nursing that they need to heal from? Do you know if your child has been betrayed by people they trusted? It doesn't even have to be a love relationship. It could even be a friendship that made the child feel that they are not worthy of love. So if they find anyone that even professes love to them, they just go on even when they know that this person is not right for them. Are there childhood traumas that your child is dealing with? It is making them second guess themselves. That is making them not believe in themselves. There was this lady that I worked with who got married to the person she got married to simply because the person was validating her as somebody who was on the plus size. So she was dealing with self-confidence in terms of her body weight. And then this young man said, oh, I like fat women. And even though the man was verbally abusive, she felt, oh, this man that could take me even with my fat, I can endure every other thing. And she stayed. But 5 years down the line, she left that marriage with a broken hip because the man beat her up and pushed her and she hit her waist on a platform there. So imagine if she knew who she was and did not take on the fact that somebody likes me fat. She understood that even with her fatness, she was worthy. She may not be in that relationship, but because the person suited a part of her that she was humiliated for, she stayed in a toxic relationship. Think about your children, the friends they have that is not even a love interest. And you know that this your child's friend is using your child's head. You're seeing your child going above and beyond for that friend, but the friend will not even do the same for your child. And you're wondering, why is my child stuck with this person? Do you know if there is an emotional wound that your child needs to heal from that is making that child a people pleaser? And if it is not dealt with and that child gets into a dating relationship, he or she may continue people pleasing and end up in a relationship that will further strip them of their self-worth. That is red flag too, that as a parent, the question is there a part of my child I don't yet know? Could this child be dealing with stuff that I don't know? Let's continue with the third red flag. Remember, we want to discuss tonight, how do you save your child from making a wrong mistake in relationship? And we said it starts first from knowing the potential red flags in your child's life that can expose them to relationships that may break them. Okay? The third red flag is one thing that humbles us as parents. Because the things that could expose our children to unhealthy relationships may actually be coming from us. And I'm not saying this to spite any parent. I'm not even saying it pretending that I'm a perfect parent. I'm saying it that it is some things that I have also noticed in my parenting, and we have consciously been working on it. What is that red flag? The first place that anybody was introduced to relationship is in our families. And so a potential red flag is when our children inherit our unhealthy relationship patterns from us. And now they are struggling to find healthy love. So the big question is, as much as nobody is perfect, would you want your child to have the kind of relationship you have with your spouse? If your honest answer is no, it means that you have a serious work to do for your child, because your child will ordinarily mirror the relationship that you and your husband have, even when you don't like that relationship. Talk about birth order stress. Even the way we handle our children, the firstborn, the secondborn, the middleborn, the lastborn, the only child, we are either preparing them for healthy love or preparing them for a disastrous relationship. The way that our children see us relating with our spouses, how we fight with our spouses, how we resolve conflict, how we love in our homes, how we show emotional vulnerability in our homes, our children are also inheriting those patterns from us. So if you know that you have not demonstrated how to resolve conflict well to your children, and it's not about hiding that you and your husband are quarreling, because even if you're quarreling and you try to hide it, the energy in your home is communicating it. If you know that you have not demonstrated emotional vulnerability to your children, teaching them how to be intimate, teaching them how to be secure in themselves, teaching them how to love, teaching them how to regulate their emotions, teaching them how to take responsibility. Please note that your child is most likely going to repeat the patterns in your family. Your God forbid is not enough to change it. Because when our children are growing with us, we are modeling relationship to them. They are noticing how we are doing relationship, and they are learning it from us. That is one thing they would repeat in their own homes. And I usually say this to parents who are struggling in their relationships. You have bigger work to do for your children not to repeat the same generational pattern. If you're listening to me and you know from your heart of heart that if you are told to rate your relationship with your spouse on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 means I am not enjoying how this relationship is, and 10 means I am completely enjoying it, and your answer is anything from 0 to 5, please take note of this red flag, because you can be exactly the same person that would make your child endure the same miserable marriage you are enduring if you don't teach them differently. So the reflective question for you as a parent here is, are there silent patterns in your parenting, in your marriage, that may have shaped your child's view of love, even when you did not intend it? Have you been doting on your only girl child? I worked with a family that had 4 sons and a daughter. And the parents made it look like the daughter was the princess of their hearts, and the boys were just the ones that God sent to complete the family. And these young boys grew up, but one of them was struggling in his relationship. Why? Because how his parents treated him and his brothers in comparison to their only sister, who was their only girl, made him feel he was not loved. In fact, he was the one before the only girl child. And so when they are playing and having stuff in the home and the sister starts crying, the parents will beat him. When the sister comes back from school and says, oh, somebody did something, the parents will shout at him for not defending their only sister. And so that made the guy begin to question, am I even part of this family? Am I even loved? And this young man, still at 35 years, could not form a love relationship to marriage because he felt that no woman was going to stay with him if he didn't have too much money. So he was working, toiling, raising the bar. He will get this degree, he will get this job. He felt that, I needed to be a certain kind of wealthy for the woman to stay with me, because how would somebody want to stay with an unlovable person? It took therapy for him to know that he was clinging to how his parents treated him in comparison to the sister. And he had to forgive his parents and let go of that self-image before he could form a relationship with someone. So these things, I wish that we know how much the impact of our own marriage on our children have on them, so that we can begin to do things differently. Let's move to the fourth flag. What is the fourth red flag you should watch out for in your child? And I want to ask an honest question here. If you have a child, especially in this age, where mental health issues are increasing every day, can you honestly say to me, when last did you ensure that your young adult child, who is navigating the challenges of school, if they are still in the in colleges, who is navigating the challenges of building a career, starting a new job, growing relationships in 2025, when last did your child take a mental health evaluation? Tell me in the chat room. When last did your child check how they were doing mentally? Even if it's the basics, check even the level, if they are, how mentally sound they are. Because trust me, I am an advocate that mental health should be checked even before anybody begins any relationship with anyone. Because when a young adult's mental health is unregulated, they can seek relief in a partner and not lasting connection. So where are my parents? Thank you, Mr. Monday said 3 months ago. That's fantastic. So is it only Mr. Monday here that is conscious of the mental well-being of their children? And the question goes, if you're not checking your own mental health, how do you check for your child? We have parents here who have not even
now. I just wrote, just hearing it about it now. I'm just hearing it about it now.
About the need to check your mental, your child's health capacity.
Mental health. Yes, I'm just hearing it from you now.
That's why you're here. It's important, because I'll touch on why it's important. But today we're talking on this, but in everything of life, mental health evaluations is critical. At least every 6 months. And if a child is going through a very turbulent, trying time, maybe every quarter is important, because it is best to catch mental health challenges when they are still growing and be able to help that child through interventions that would help. But let's relate it to marriage preparation. Ojon says, how can one check his mental health status? There are various evaluations to do that. That is why every child, every family should at least have one family therapist or coach who does this periodic evaluations for the family to ensure that everybody is all right. So I'm going to touch on that later. Ronke is asking me, does it mean that everyone has a mental problem? So that's it. Mental health is not that, it's not a mental illness. It is your state of well-being, how you are able to, when you go for your medical checkup, does it mean that everybody is sick? You go for your medical checkup to ensure that you have optimal health and you don't fall.
So we've lost her again.
I refuse to get tired of tonight because I know how the devil manipulates things. This is a very needed conversation, and I don't know for the life of me why network is crappy today, but we will get it done. If you believe with me that we'll get this conversation done, please come and give me a thumbs up in the chat room, because this off and on is draining my energy small, but I need encouragement. Come to the chat room and say, let's go. Whether the network likes it or not, we will finish today's conversation. That's the kind of energy that I want. Okay? All right. Thank you for your encouragement. So we are Oluchi. I will measure your prayer warriorness. So if this thing goes off again, it's me and you. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you everyone for staying put with us. So we cannot overflog this. I want us to quickly run because time is going. I need us to have some critical conversations, but I need to point out these red flags. So really, if a child is emotionally overwhelmed, maybe they are battling anxiety, maybe they are dealing with grief that has not been processed. And grief is not just the loss of a loved one. It could be the loss of an identity that they want. It could be the loss of the life that they are dreaming of. It could be the loss of anything, or even navigating low self-esteem. What this does to them is that their nervous system is hyperactive. And then what it makes them is they're searching for the smallest relief. Somebody that is feeling depressed and just see somebody that gives them momentary joy. They forget every other thing and they lash onto it because it's solving a need in the moment. But by the time they stay in that relationship or even move it to marriage, they find out that that momentary joy is not enough. If somebody is feeling overwhelmed and someone just gives them a little sense of relief, that could make them gravitate towards that person. So that if a person's mental health is unregulated, that child could be choosing from confusion. Think about a time when you have been feeling anxious, or you have been feeling depressed, or you have been feeling overwhelmed by your emotions. You are in a confused state. Is that a state to pick somebody you want to do life with for the rest of your life? Or if a person is emotionally exhausted, that's pressure. And there's another angle to it. Even when a child, a young adult, is not emotionally optimal, they can even mess up a good relationship. So it's not just about attracting the bad one, it's that they can potentially even mess up a good one, because nobody wants to be with somebody that is cranky. Nobody wants to be with somebody that is always low energy. Nobody wants to be with somebody that is always complaining, always overwhelmed, always fatigued, always drained. So even when there's a potential good relationship, your child who is unable to regulate the emotion can actually sabotage that good relationship. So for you as a parent, the question for you to reflect on is, how emotionally aware is your child? Do you think that your child can name what they're feeling? Interestingly, some parents here do not even, if I ask you now, in the last 1 week, name the 5 top emotions you have been feeling. And I'm saying you should not mention happy, sad, anxious, or worried. Whatever vocabulary do you have for the emotions you have been feeling? The big question is, do you even know if your child is depressed or your child is suffering from chronic anxiety? And I did say to us that a good number of young people are dealing with these mental health issues, especially even the anxiety that is caused by us parents. Oh, you have to bring somebody home. Oh, you should watch out for this. Meanwhile, you're not teaching them anything, but they are filling them with so much anxiety. They are watching your marriage and they are saying, if this is what marriage is, I don't want this kind of marriage. They go on social media, they are seeing their role models, their celebrities, their marriage crashing, and they are so afraid of relationship. What are you doing with them to validate these fears, but to teach them how not to repeat the mistakes of their role models? This takes us to the 5th red flag. And this is very critical for us as parents. When the life of a child feels empty, they will grasp at love to fill the void. And that could make them end with the wrong person. Sometimes your child, or any young adult for that matter, isn't chasing love because they are truly ready. Listen to this. They are chasing love because they are tired of chasing everything else. Imagine a child, a young adult who is feeling alone, doesn't have good quality friendships. Or a young adult who is failing in, like, their career is not moving the way they want it to move. And they're like, you know what, if I can't make it in career, I might as well just find love. If I can't make it in my education, maybe I should, console myself with a relationship. If I am feeling disconnected from my parents, maybe I should go and date somebody. So if a child is dissatisfied with life, is unhappy with how their life is progressing, that is one sure banker way of ending in a wrong relationship, because they would get into a relationship from a place of emptiness. They would gravitate towards somebody that just fits that need, somebody that just fills that vacuum for them, somebody that just helps them forget the emptiness they are feeling in their life, somebody that helps them forget that they are not making progress. But then when they get into that relationship and perhaps they have fallen in love with the person, it is now too late to come out. Or when they are in the relationship, they find out that even this relationship did not solve my unhappiness. Even this relationship did not actually fill that void. But what if it's already too late? What if somebody is already pregnant? What if somebody has already made a commitment and then they get to endure the life or endure a marriage that they should never have gotten into if they actually were able to fix the unhappiness they feel in their lives? So this is a question for you as a parent. Do you think that your child is feeling stuck where the child is right now? Whether it is feeling stuck with school, feeling stuck with work, feeling stuck with friendships, feeling stuck with even their personal development. Do you think your child is feeling stuck? Do you think your child is discouraged about life? A parent was referred to me because their child was just disconnected from life and stopped attending lectures. And when I started to work with this young man, I realized that he was actually studying a course that he had no interest in because his father insisted that he was going to study that course. And whilst that child was studying that course, at a point in time, he lost interest from school and was at the verge of being withdrawn from studies. And he said to me, the only thing that was making him wake up every day was his girlfriend. And when we started to probe further, the girlfriend was like what he was hanging on, but she wasn't even healthy for him because this girlfriend introduced him to drugs. This girlfriend introduced him to some illegal business deals. And by the time we continued our therapy and coaching session, the young man said to me, he knew from the onset that the girl was not right for him, but that was the only thing he could hang on to since he didn't have any other thing that made life meaningful. After all, if his parents were forcing him to go through school to study what he didn't want, do they really care about him? So he allowed the girl introduce him to drugs and run his life even negatively inclined simply because there was an area of his life he was dissatisfied with, but he didn't have anyone to help him deal with it. So do you think your child is struggling with school and you are just excusing it that, oh, he's being lazy? Oh, if Mazi Emeka's child could do it, why are you struggling with it? People have studied engineering and they made it. Nah, 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 nah. What if really this child is struggling? What if your child is in a work that is challenging them, that is making them feel meaningless? Do they have your listening ear to even talk to you about what they are going through? What if your child is feeling lonely and would date anyone just to douse that loneliness? If I tell you the number of young people, especially us Nigerians, basically, and Africans, whose children are studying in the West, particularly, I have stories of people, I don't want to call the countries, but of course, you know, such countries where winter is really severe. And then children there who have not yet learned how to cope with life are doing friends. Somebody said to me, we're not dating, we're just having sex. I'm like, excuse me. He said, the weather is cold, so I just need a human blanket. And casual sex has become so rampant amongst young people because they don't have somebody guiding them right. And just out of this story, a 23-year-old boy impregnated his human blanket friend who is 33. That their lifestyle is different, their beliefs world apart, their values world apart. The only thing they had was sex. And the young girl said she's not going to abort that child. Now it seems like they are stuck together. What if this young boy knew how to deal with the inconveniences of life, had somebody who taught him how to cope when life was not giving you all that you wanted it to give you? Perhaps the parents will not be running helter-skelter now, looking at how to adopt their grandchild because they're insisting he's not going to marry the girl. And the girl is saying, I'm not going to leave my child. And then the story continues. So we're not looking at these things to instill fear on any of us because we are all parents and we want the best for our children. It is such that we are able to help our children before it is too late. So we have just seen the 5 red flags that can quietly lead your child, or even any child for that matter, into a miserable marriage. But the big question is, what if it doesn't have to go that way? What if, thank you, Eukarya, what if there is a way that your child can enter love with clarity and not confusion? What if there is a way you, as a parent, can prepare your child to choose a life partner from a place of peace and not of panic? How can your child, in this time and age where we have a lot of confusion out there, a lot of different sexual identities. Today, somebody is saying, I am married to a tree. Another person is saying, I am in love with myself. Another person, we can't even count the different nuances of sexual identities out there. Not just sexual identity, even people. What if there is a way you can help your child know themselves, know what they carry, know the heritage they have, and know what they deserve? Are you aware that it takes a person who is showing their identity to walk away when a relationship does not look like it is giving them their best? Not everybody. Why do you think people stay in toxic relationships? Like, you know that this is not good, but they stay there. Why do you think that happens? It's because these people are not secure in themselves. Thank you, Tammy, for being honest. Tammy says, I had a very close experience schooling abroad, so I know what you're talking about. Because sometimes when we share data like this, it looks like, oh, we're making these things up. This is real. And this is not to put fear in anybody. So long as you have a child, even the child that lives in the same house with you, a lot is happening to them. Not to talk of when you have a child living away from you, schooling in different countries, schooling in different cities away from you, you need to be even more intentional with what you're doing with them, because that is so critical in how they can show up in relationships. So what's the solution here? You are a parent, you have a child that is 18 years and above. If you truly want to help your child to make a relationship that is healthy, that is safe, if you truly want to help your child to form relationships, to form friendships that can grow into romantic relationships, you need to be honest with yourself, because you need to, first of all, help your child heal the emotional wounds, including the ones that you may have caused, including the unhealthy family patterns that they may have picked up from you and your spouse. You need to help your child understand their emotional wiring. How is this child wired? What's the emotional inclination of this child? What are the things that get your child anxious? What are the things that make your child depressed? What are the things that make your child fearful? Because if they don't know this, they are waiting on a time bomb. You need to help your child discover their core identity. I'm telling you, I am not saying this to just sound like, oh, she's moving stuff. I can categorically tell you that there are many married people who would never have married the people that they are married to today if they knew who they were. If they had somebody who helped them address their emotional wounds prior to accepting to marry a person. If they understood their emotional wiring, if they understood how to build relational clarity and confidence, and how to develop the emotional intelligence skills to navigate love again. I'm so passionate about this because I'm a mother of young adults and I love love. I love love. I love marriage institution. I love families. I am an advocate that yes, as much as marriage is the coming together of two nations to build a new nation that would transform our society, I personally believe that this life lived once, nobody deserves to manage marriage. Nobody deserves to just survive in marriage. I believe that marriage should be enjoyed. And if marriage is not to be enjoyed, then the person should not marry. As a mother who got married at 26, now 22 years married, and with children aged between 20 and 14, this conversation we're having is so critical for me. It's so critical for me because no matter what Neduma and I teach our children will never fall in love romantically with us. Our children will fall in love romantically with another child raised by another parent. And if that parent has not taught their own child how to be in a relationship, it's going to be a challenge for our angels. And so I'm passionate about this because I know that is not enough to teach my child. That is why any married singleness program that I know is of value, we push our children there. And not only them, we push them and their friends, because their friends are going to be the voices that will continue to speak in their lives. What do I do? Supporting parents to save their children from making wrong marriage choices so that they don't spend their old age in misery, running from one prayer house to another. I don't know about you, but this year I turned 48, and I know that God is going to bless me with long life. I don't want to be gnashing my teeth when I am 70, when I'm 80, regretting the marriages of my children. I want to do my best to ensure that I give them a good stand. I want to do my best to ensure that I give them a good understanding. Oh, somebody, let me share this before we move on. Somebody sent me a private message and she said I should share that, but without disclosing the identity. So I'm not going to disclose the identity. So I'm reading directly from that. And she said, I can relate with what you said because I just came to the realization about 2 years ago during FSC. She said, my husband was not a present father and he was not family oriented. My daughters practically grew up with only me and unfortunately saw me cry many times as a result of loneliness. This affected my first daughter's perspective of relationship and impacted her trust level. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing this. So she was talking with relation of what I say, our children mimic the kind of marriage that we had. So before we go on here, I want us to take this poll. What is your biggest, if there was one thing you could help your child to do differently, to prepare them for marriage based on what I shared, please come and respond to this. I'm going to run this poll for just 3 minutes so that we can really keep to the time. So the question says, if you could strengthen just one area in your child before they start dating, what would it be? If your child is already dating, what is that one area that you think as a parent, if I can help my child in this area, I think my child will be better prepared for marriage? So I have launched the poll. Please go to the chat room. There are 5 options. You can choose one option. I can see the poll. Please come to the chat room and say yes. Okay? Right now, we are 88 people in this call. I would like for us to at least get to 75% participation. So there are 5 statements there. Okay, so choose that statement that you think, if this is one area I can help my child, I think my child will be better prepared for relationship. We are going very slow. Only 9% of people have answered. Please, I want us to answer, because what this does for us in the academy is that it helps us to produce resources that can help you. When we take this polls, we collate it, and then we know the present needs of our target market, and then we are able to help you address those issues. So if you are not seeing the poll, on the lower side of the lower bar on your platform, you would see where you see polls and quizzes. So if you click on it, you would see the poll. So it's still there. Time is counting. Please help us, help us, help us. 47%. How many minutes more do we have? In 1 minute, I will end that. Okay? All right. So please, if you can see it, please go ahead and respond. Go ahead and respond. Go ahead and respond. Go ahead and respond. In 1 minute, we will take the poll down. Yes, thank you if you have responded. 57% of us have responded. Can we move this to 60, please? Can we move it to 60? Can we move it to 60? Can we move it to 60? Okay. All right. We are at 60%. I think I will stop the poll now so that we can move on. If you are yet to respond, please do that. Please do that. And I'm about to stop the poll, but based on what we already have now, I can see that for many of us here, the biggest challenge we're having is how to help our children understand their identity and sense of self-worth. So I'll speak to how that can happen here. Closely followed by that is their ability to regulate their emotions and build emotional confidence. And after that, the next one is the ability to spot red flags in a relationship and walk away on time. So thank you everyone who participated in the poll. Thank you so much. Okay, so if we are saying that our biggest challenge is how to get our children to identify their identity and self-worth, and how to help them regulate their emotions, how to help them spot red flags in the dark. Let's now look at what do we need to do to help our children do that, okay? All right, I can see some people are still responding in the chat room. Okay, fantastic. So let's quickly go. So one of the things you can do for your child is to ensure that even if you do not have the knowledge, you do not have the time, you should have the time, please. If you don't have the knowledge, okay, so where do I start from? How do I help them do this? How do I help them do that? Like I said, at the Start Your Marriage Right Academy, we have a mission to support parents to save their children from making wrong marriage choices so that they don't spend their old age running around because their children are in a miserable marriage. And that is why the team, looking at all of these things, created this 8 weeks program called Nadem Gode Rushu. And I'm going to be telling you what we will do with your child here. And you would also glean insights on how to support your child. Because for every parent that signs up their child 18 years above to this program, we're going to be giving you a document that would help you in your work with your children to know what to check with them. So that it's not that some parents just dump their children with us in the academy. And then when I'm asking, so how are you following up? You say, Dima, I've given them over to you and Nedumo. And I'm saying, no. In as much as the academy is doing their work, you as the parent also has a job. And then one of the parents was like, but we don't really know what to do with them. And that was why at the academy, we created a PDF, a guide, checklist, a guidebook where the parents can know what to check with your child to know how they are progressing in these different areas that we have talked about. But I will tell you how you can get that guidebook. So what's Nadem going to rush you about? It is a life-changing 8 weeks program where in the academy we take in young adults and we help them to become more self-aware. We help them to build their confidence and become more expressive, even as we also help them to prepare for love. I'll tell you what we do with them in that 8 weeks. First of all, we start off by evaluating their life satisfaction to see where is this person, because it's a whole person that can build a whole relationship. We begin to check the markers of their life to know, is there some areas in their life that they are not satisfied with? And then they get coaching on how to improve those areas so that they don't go into a relationship for the wrong reasons. We also check their relationship readiness. Age is not enough. No, this is not only for girls. It is for every human being, because that is one mistake we make in the marriage preparation space. We invest time, we invest energy to prepare our girl child for relationship, but we don't invest that same energy to prepare the men. And then when our children, our girl child falls in love with a man who is ill prepared, we start shouting. It takes two to make a relationship work. So we don't only prepare girls, we prepare boys. No, what I'm talking about is for young adults, 18 years and above. Relationship readiness, and of course they take mental health evaluation to know where they are. Not only do they take mental health evaluation, we teach them how to stay above depression. We teach them how to navigate anxiety, the different things they would do as a young person to optimize their emotional and mental well-being so that they can be clear-headed even in the dating space. Then, of course, we move on to help them check their family patterns. I just read for you something that someone shared, how because of how she would cry because she was lonely, she was actually expressing herself, but her daughter was imbibing it. And so it made her develop trust issues. It made her have issues in her own relationships. So what we do in this program is to guide your children to check their family patterns, to even check, first of all, how their position in the family is affecting their relationship dynamics. Because how a firstborn son shows up in a relationship is different from how a last-born son will show up. And if they don't know this, that can sabotage their relationship. We begin to check their attachment style. How did they learn love from their parents? Is there any dysfunction there? We address it and we help them to deal with them. Then critically, we also take them through checking their childhood to see if there's any childhood trauma there. Maybe trauma from parents, trauma from peer group, trauma from school, trauma from significant authority figures, whatever it is, because this can sabotage them. And then, of course, we take them through psychotherapy to heal the emotional wounds. We deal with wounds of rejection, wounds of abandonment, wounds of betrayal, wounds of humiliation, and wounds of injustice, so that they can heal. Because when a young adult truly deals with any emotional wounds and dysfunction, they are better suited to be in the relationship space. After dealing with what could have impacted their lives, it's important that we help them connect to their true self. And this is what might interest many of us here who responded that, how do I get my child to understand their identity and self-worth? When we take away the layer that trauma would have brought into their life, they are now able to embrace the authentic self. So what do we do with them? We help them to identify their values. What are your values? Sometimes I see parents who have 20-year-olds and you are still caught up with, oh, my family values is this. That's fine. But as your child begins to grow into a young adult, they need to begin to identify their own personal values. Yes, the personal values may align with your general family values, but what about them? How does your child show up in work? What values guide how they do work? What values guide how they do relationship? What values guide how they do personal growth? This is where they begin to do that, and this is where they begin to reconnect to the authentic self. Then very critically, we help them to address what are their deal breakers. What are the kind of things they don't want in a relationship? Because if they don't know it, they will come into relationship and somebody will be doing anyhow. But not only that, we also groom them to be courageous to talk about it. You have a friend who does some things you don't like, but you are like, oh, if I say it, they will think my own is too much. If I say it, they will think I'm too choosy. No, you have to choose, because you should not settle just for anything. Then, as they do that, we get them to also begin to look at this relationship that you're preparing for. What are your beliefs around relationship? Why do you want to even get into a relationship? Really? Are you aware? And I know this is that part where many parents will not like to hear, but do you know that a child may not get married and will still fulfill their destiny? But the important thing is, we need to be sure that why a child is saying, I don't want to get married, is not because of a trauma that the child is afraid of repeating. So there are two layers to it. Somebody can definitely live a fulfilled life without getting married. African parents don't want to hear that. But we need to be sure that why the child does not want to get married is not because of a trauma that they have not healed from. And sometimes even the people saying, I don't do relationship, I don't want relationship, they don't even know that it's a trauma that is making them do that. So here we help them check if they are truly ready for a relationship. Then, of course, they begin to craft what we call their personal purpose statement. I'll take your questions once I'm done with it, so keep them coming. I just want to finish this and I'll take your questions, okay? One thing that I have also seen in my work with married people is that many people get married without realizing what they're passionate about, without realizing what makes life meaningful for them. And then they get married. And say, for example, they begin the life and then they find out that, oh, I'm passionate about this. This is something I want to spend my life doing. Then it causes crisis because their partners are like, when did this one start? I didn't know this. So me, I didn't marry this person. No, I married this person. Now imagine for a moment, if you have a child who is 25 years, has finished university, maybe working, but doesn't even know, what does life mean to me? What makes life meaningful for me? But in Nadem Go Dey Rush You, we take them through an exercise where they begin to identify, what's my personal purpose statement? What's that thing that makes my heart happy? Because trust me, when it comes to compatibility, which is one of the ingredients that sustains marriage, alignment of life dreams, alignment of life priorities is very important. It's going to be hard to do life with somebody who does not identify with the things that make life meaningful for you. And so many couples begin to find that out when they're already married. And then is another kettle of fish to navigate. But for your children, we take them through understanding their own personal life statement. Then the very good one that I love, that brings everything together, is that they get to design their unique attraction blueprint. And I say this with every sense of validation. This is like me talking like Peter Obi and say, go and verify. When you know who you are, and you know what you want in life, and you know what you want in a relationship, you will show up in the dating scene confident, and you attract the people that can go on that journey with you. But when you don't know, you are confused in the dating scene, and anybody can just be that person for you. So in this program that we do for singles, we help them to sit down and say, who are you? Create your attraction blueprint. It talks about their strengths. It talks about their values. It talks about their personal purpose statement. They begin to talk about the things that make them feel recharged. They begin to articulate the things that turn them off, the things that they like in people, the way they like to recharge themselves, the way they like to connect. We even go deeper to begin to ask them to articulate what is your love language? What is your language of apology? How would you like somebody to apologize to you? We begin to talk about what's your concept of money? Are you a saver? Are you somebody who likes to hoard? What's your communication style? At what point when you are angry, how would you like a partner to approach you when you are angry? What's your conflict resolution style? How do you like to address conflicts? We begin to even help them see what's your dream list. If there were things you dreamt of being as a child, what is it? Because one of the things why people don't know what to talk about when they are dating, that they just limit it to sex and visiting all the exotic restaurants, is that they run out of conversations. But when your child articulates their attraction blueprint, it's like they already have a working document with which to step into the dating world and see the people. I jokingly tell them that when you are ready to date, or when you meet that person you think you want to take your relationship to the next level, you literally are giving them your attraction blueprint and say, hey, do you mind going through this? Because we get them to document it, because relationship is that serious. Do you mind going through this? Can you see yourself doing life with the person described here? That's what we should be doing in courtship. And so that is one of the things that we do with them to design the attraction blueprint. And so this was the case of a father who signed up the daughter for this program. And whilst they were in the program, he sent this message to me. It was sent to him by the daughter. And the daughter says to him, "Good morning, Daddy. I want to personally thank you for signing me up for Nadem Goderoshi program. It has really been helpful and insightful and helpful. I've been learning a lot, and I know at the end of this journey, there's a positive result." And the man sent this to me and said, hey, this was sent to me by my 25-year-old daughter living in Ibadan. And over time, he continued to send conversations, and this daughter ended up ending the current relationship she was in because she realized that she didn't know any better before she accepted to go along with that man. Or should we talk about this lady who was in a relationship, or rather she chose to call it a situationship. And then she was in this situationship that was not defined for 3 years. And she said she did not want to sound desperate. And one day they were having a conversation, and random conversation, and that was when she was already in Nadem Goderoshu. And the young man said, oh, I cannot find myself marrying a woman from, and he mentioned a tribe. And guess what? The tribe he said he could not find himself marrying someone from was exactly the same tribe that this lady he has been stringing along for 3 years was from. And she said it was because of what she was learning in Nadem Goderoshu that she addressed it. And of course, she stood up for herself and asked the young man that they needed to define what they were doing. And so she said, this program opened my eyes to new possibilities and broadened my understanding of self-worth and personal growth. Each session was a journey of self-discovery filled with moments that challenged my beliefs and inspired me to strive for a better version of myself. I learned that being truly ready for a relationship starts with nurturing and valuing oneself, setting healthy boundaries, and recognizing red flags. I'll share this last one with you. And this really touched my heart because it was sent by a young man who was a firstborn child, who was having issues in his relationship, but did not know. And so he says, as a firstborn, I used to feel like I always have to give. So I have to give. So anytime I think about marriage, I think of what I can give to my wife and my family. I never thought of what I can receive or what I actually want from marriage. So what Nadem course has helped me to do is that it has helped me to look at myself and see how my birth order can affect my choice in marriage and help me recognize the trauma and healing I need, blah, blah, blah. This course helped me to understand myself better. And right now, the young man is forming better relationships. So let me answer your questions as I share with you how this can help your child. So somebody is saying, how can I connect okay, I'll tell you how to connect your young child. Ifeanyi Chukwu said, preparing 18-year-old for marriage. You are preparing your 18-year-olds for relationship because relationships lead to marriage. You are preparing your 18-year-old because let's not be in the dark. There are 18-year-olds that are forming friendships that can lead to marriage. And like I shared with you, when your child knows what to watch out for in relationship, it makes them choose relationships rightly. So your 18-year-old may not be getting married, but I can tell you she's already in a world where she's seeing men, she's seeing women, and she's able to know, I can have this person in my space. The ability to choose a good romantic partner starts from your ability to choose a good friend. So if your child doesn't even know how to have quality friendships, how are they going to have quality relationships? So don't think that, and let me tell you, 18-year-olds are already learning about relationships. So you had better be the one teaching them than letting social media teach them what you don't want them to learn. Okay, what about parents that have childhood trauma too? Such exposure to need such exposure to, like you're making. Oh, we have programs for parents for healing, but right now we are talking about our children. So if you're interested about healing programs for parents, please, you can contact us at Start Your Marriage Right Academy. We're not talking about that today, but we definitely have programs that talk about healing for parents, okay? If your child is very young, this might not be a program for them, but from 18 years and above, your child is already in college, you need this program for them. Okay? Exactly. See, somebody just said that. Ngozi just answered you. She met her husband when she was 18. So what if your child meets one like that? Okay, what's the cost of the program, time and venue? It's all right. How can you help me with the recorded? This version, this webinar, it's streamed on YouTube. So if you registered for the program, we will share the link with you. Okay. Chinwe, what we just discussed is not what your child needs. This conversation was tailored to parents What your child needs is the 8-week program. So let me tell you how it runs. So for 8 weeks, we gather the people registered for the program in an exclusive community on WhatsApp. Then the modules have already been pre-recorded. So there is a module for your child to watch every week, 1 module a week. And we have reflective exercises for them to do based on what we have been discussing so far. Then every Saturday, we have a live coaching session with each batch. And this coaching session runs for 2 hours, 7 to 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Each coaching session is recorded. And so if a young adult misses the session, they can watch it. But trust me, I always say that they should attend. It's better that you are there live. But for any reason the young adult misses the session, they can watch the recording and they have a 1-year access to it. At the end of the 8 weeks, we also give them a digital handbook. A handbook that can guide them of the things that they have learned so that they can continue practicing it going forward. So that's how it runs. So the next question is, which of your child do you think needs this program? Like I said, it is open for children that are in universities and upwards because love interests begin to form from there. It is open to young adults 18 years and above, but let's talk about specifics. If your child is single, if you think your child is confused about what to do in the dating zone, if you think your child is unsure of themselves, if you think your child is secretly afraid of making a mistake in love, sometime last week I shared something. I was having a conversation with one of our daughters, random conversation like I will always have with them. And I said to her, what's your biggest fear? And she looked at me and she answered, dying alone. And you know, the mother in me, I'm like, she said, let me explain. I said, my biggest fear is dying without finding true love. For a mother that is also a lover, that really touched my heart. And I said to her, you will find true love. And we started to talk about continuing, because I've been teaching that you need to pray. I started praying for the kind of marriage I would have from when I was 13 years old. And somebody's like, at that age? Yes. I actually changed my course of study that I wanted to study when I was in SS1. I wanted to go into the arts class to study law. And then I was misled, that's what I'll call it. A random family friend of ours visited and was asking, oh, now that you have finished junior WAEC, what do you want to do? I said, I want to do law. It's like, female lawyers do not make good wives because they'll be arguing with their husbands. As ignorant as I was, I believed him. And I can tell you from when I was small, if you ask my parents, I've always wanted to do law. But I changed the trajectory of my dream career with that random conversation with a very random family friend, simply because of this. And that was why I ended up studying engineering. So I've always believed in family, even as a small child. But imagine that I could talk this with my parents and they made me know that, no, you can study law and you can still make your marriage work. Maybe I would not have been misled. So I began to have conversations with that daughter of mine, and all my children who are of age have gone through this program with their friends because I believe in preparation added to prayers. So if you don't want your child to make a mistake in love, this is for that child. If you know your child is not emotionally ready, but you don't know how to help them, You see that maybe they will repeat the patterns you have repeated. You see that they are so dependent on their friends. They are people pleasers. They don't know how to form friendships. Whatever, you know that your child is not emotionally ready, please don't miss this opportunity. If your child has been carrying wounds from their past relationships, please help them to heal. And if you don't want your child to gamble with their marriage choice, this is for you. How much will it cost you to enroll your child in this program? Maybe if I ask you, how much do you think it will cost you to save your child when your child is heartbroken, when your child falls in the wrong relationship, or even when your child marries, like the woman I shared with you, and 2 years after, she's telling you she wants to leave the relationship, and you are thinking, oh, what will it cost you? Whatever you think it will cost you, this 8 weeks online program is going to cost you far less. For the 8 weeks, it is an 80,000 naira investment. But for everyone who is here that wants to enroll their child, you get a 20% discount if you are ready to pay at once. We want to use this summertime to invest in our children's relationship preparation. So the next batch of this program is starting July 24th. Admin, please, am I correct? July 24th, and it will run for 8 weeks. And I think this is the time where most of this young adults are on holiday. So they are using their time wisely. So if you want to enroll your child and you want to pay at once, we're giving you, because you're here, a 20% discount. So you can either scan this QR code to chat with Ifunanya to make payment for that. But you're saying to me, I want to enroll my child, but I want to pay, is there another flexible payment option? Yes, you can also pay in 2 installments of 37,500. And that's still a deal for you. So I don't know which one you want, whether you're paying at once at 64,000, you want to pay 2 installments of 37,500 each. We are ready to admit your child and their friends into this program. Because your desires for your child to marry the right partner that will make them happy and give them peace of mind is possible. But you have to help your child become more self-aware. You have to help your child know themselves and know what to expect in the dating world. You have to help your child become more self-confident so that they don't shut off their real self. You have to help your child become more self-expressive so they can speak up for what they want and reject what they don't want. Many people will say, I wish I walked away 3 months ago. I wish I walked away 1 year ago. Why didn't they walk away? Because they were not confident and self-expressive. You have to prepare that child of yours to be whole, to be healed, to be authentic, so that they can choose from a place of abundance. And please, I need you to know that there are good men out there. There are good women out there. Don't by yourself put fear in your child that the good men are finished, good women are no longer there. Otherwise, you will be raising them to pick a partner from a place of lack. Now, them go to rush you is that self-discovery pre-marriage course is the best gift you can give your child to prepare them for a safe, for a healthy relationship. And like the person that said 18 years, are we preparing them for marriage? You need to prepare them for relationship. You need to prepare them to be whole. Even if your child is not dating, at least your child will know who they are. and know not to take any nonsense from anyone, but to rather represent their values and their beliefs. They will know how to optimize their mental health so that they are not caught up with anxiety and depression. They will know how to heal from emotional wounds so that they can be whole and authentic. Because this is how you can prevent your child from making a mistake. And this is how you can give yourself that peace of mind in your old age, knowing that your child is happily married and that you have prepared them well enough. Okay? Somebody is asking, can a 17-year-old attend? It depends on the emotional maturity of the 17-year-old. The program is set for 18 and above. But if that 17-year-old is already in college, yes, the person can attend, because many love interests begin to grow from universities or colleges. Because by right, 18 years is when our children should be entering the university. So if that 17-year-old is already in university, that 17-year-old can also attend. Admin, please, can you drop the link to chat Ifunanya in the chat room so that people here can begin to chat? I can't see that. Raya, if you're there, please drop the link in the chat room. Okay, let me read my chat. Do we get further discounts if we're enrolling 2 or 3 children? There are no further discounts because already the work to be done. But please chat Ifunanya. If you are enrolling 3 children, we might consider a mini discount for you. Aside from that, 3 children and above, you could get a discount. But if it is 2, please, we would keep it at the discount that has already been given. Oluchi, are you there? I'm trying to get Rayo to share the link while I answer. Okay, I can see it. Okay, so that's the link there. Can you also drop the link to chat Ifunanya, or drop Ifunanya's number there so that parents can also chat in case they want clarity? Okay, so if you're signing up your child, please just click on that link. If you want to chat with Ifunanya to understand better, you can also chat with us. I think I've answered that question. Somebody said, must they be 18 years to attend? I've answered that. Is there any other question for me? Oh, okay. I've said the program is 80,000 Naira, but then we are giving a discount. Somebody is asking, my children are located in the US. The time zones are different. Yes, I know that. We have also, that is why we try to put this during the summer period if the children are still schooling. But those that are working, we've also had people in the past participate from the US, from Canada, from the UK. What it means, like I said, the sessions are pre-recorded. So your child can watch it at their own time. The coaching class happen on Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. And that could coincide with 2 p.m. depending on where they are in North America. But remember, the sessions are recorded and your child has a 1-year access to the recording of the coaching classes. So they get a 1-year access to the recording of the coaching classes. The sessions are pre-recorded, so they will still have time to engage in it at their own time. Okay? Please send me your personal handle so I know how to reach out to you. So for the person asking, you can reach out to us here. So because I want us to quickly end this, I hope this has been of value to us. You would know about the session. So we don't necessarily do session for parents. We do healing sessions. So when it's time for the healing session, so long as you're connected with us, you will get our information. So thank you, everyone. I think I've attended to all the questions I can see. I hope I did not miss anyone. Who else? Yes. So thank you so much. I enjoyed having this time with you. For those asking, how can I meet you outside this meeting? Are you based in Lagos? Yes, I'm based in Lagos, but I have clients all over the world. So you can also reach out to us in that number, or you can keep in touch with us. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and please reflect on all that we have discussed. Like I said, the next batch of this program is starting July 24th. We try to put it at this time so that we can get the young people who are relaxing for summer to participate. And if you think this is what your child needs, remember it is designed for their ease. The sessions are already pre-recorded. They get access to it for 1 year. They also get access to the coaching calls for another 1 year, but the coaching call holds on Saturdays, 7 to 9 p.m. All right, I think on that note, we can call it a night. So if you found this enlightening, it was great spending this time with you, and I look forward to welcoming your children into the program, because I always say we cannot be alive and watch our children make a mistake in relationship. As we pray for them, we also would prepare them for the insights and the skills that they need. Remember, my people perish for lack of knowledge, not necessarily prayer. So let your prayer be merged with a strategy to give them the right knowledge that they need. Enjoy the rest of your time, and I hope to see you.
Please, before you sign off, can you tell them how long the window for the discount is available for?
Those that are here, they would, till the class starts. What time are we in? We are in, today is what?
28th of June.
Yes. So long as you are in this session and you contact Ifunanya with what was shared here, you have the window to sign up your children before the session starts. We're starting on July 24th. Once the class starts, the window is closed and we will revert back to 80,000. Subsequent sessions would hold. For people who missed this webinar, they would have to go to our website and sign up their children at 80,000. But if you're here, we kept that window up for you, because showing up here means already you're interested in helping your child, and we want to partner with you to help that child. Okay, so we're keeping the window till class starts. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy a fantastic weekend.